Okay, on to notes for today. Why did we what? We did. What's -1 minus 5? Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. I'm glad you asked if you have a question. Okay, so number 1 here, again, it's going to be a little harder than what we did on Friday. So this is very much like what we did on Friday. What's our common denominator on this one? X. Thank you, those of you who are sitting quietly. So we have x to the third here and x here. What's our least common denominator? How many x's do we have here? 3. We only have 1 here. We need to get all 3 there. Okay. So our least common denominator is going to be at least as big as the bigger one. So it's x to the third. So what do we multiply this numerator and denominator by? X squared. So we get 5 over x to the third plus 2x squared over x to the third. And then we add them together, and we get 2x squared plus 5 over x to the third. And that's going to be our final answer. Why can't we do any canceling here on the x squared and the x cubed? Because a plus, that's right. This has to be multiplication here in order for us to be able to cancel there. Okay, on number 2, can either one of those denominators be factored? Because it's hard to tell just by looking at it. Omar, really? How does this factor here? What's in common with 5k and 20? 5. So we can factor out a 5. So this would be 5 times k plus 4. So it's like dividing. The 5k divided by 5 is k. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Okay, it's not dividing, but it's like dividing there. So what is in this denominator that's not in this one? The 5. So we need to multiply the numerator and the denominator by 5. So this gives us k plus 24 over 5 times k plus 4 plus 5k over 5 times k plus 4. And then what next? Can we add these two together in the numerator? Yeah, what do we get? How many k's total? 6k plus 24 over 5 times k plus 4. So right now it looks like we can't cancel, but can we factor that numerator? Yes, we can factor out what can we factor out? 6. So this would be 6 times k plus 4 over 5 times k plus 4. So if we didn't factor that, we might not see that we can cancel out. What can we cancel out? The k plus 4. And we get 6/5. Okay, let's go on to number 3. A lot of that factoring is in this unit, and this one today in particular. So we want to factor any denominator here. Does either one of these denominators factor in number 3? Yeah. The case x squared minus 4. How does that factor? X plus 2 times x minus 2. So remember, when this is a square and this is a square separated by minus, that's a difference of 2 squares. You're taking the square root of x squared, which is x, square root of 4, which is 2. And then the plus and minus, when you multiply that out, it gets rid of that middle term. So what's in this denominator here that's not in this one? Ignore that and look at the x plus 2 times x minus 2. X minus 2. So we're going to multiply the numerator by x minus 2 and the denominator by x minus 2. So we're going to distribute this. So we get x squared minus 2x over x minus 2 times x plus 2 minus 8 over x plus 2 times x minus 2. And so now we're just going to make it one expression. So that would be x squared minus 2x minus 8, right? Does that make sense? Okay, and then what could we do next? Yeah, we want to factor that numerator. So notice you've got a square term, you've got a linear term, and then you've got the number. So x squared, an x term, and a number. So that means we're going to be able to factor. How do we factor that when it looks like that? X, that's right. So your goal is to be able to do this x without writing it down, to do it in your head, but that's okay if you need it, no big deal. So we're going to put a negative 8 on the top and a negative 2 on the bottom, and what works? Yep, negative 4, positive 2. This is x minus 4, x plus 2, and then what cancels? Yep. It's x minus 4 over x minus 2. Why can we not cancel, say, those x's or a 2 out of the 2 and 4? That's right, it's not multiplication. It has to be multiplication. Go ahead and do number 4 for you, try. Yes, nice job. Keep going. You can factor the denominator. Just you're going to simplify. The denominator, yeah. So how can you factor the denominator? Okay. Yeah. Oh. Sorry, you said that you can't. Didn't catch that. That's right. Yep. Yep. And so now you can cancel. Good. So now you can just do some canceling. What can you cancel? Cancel anything out of the 2 and the 8? So keep going. Factor that denominator. Good job. If you factor the denominator, you can simplify a little further. Good, David. Just keep going there because there's something you can cancel. Good, you knew that. Okay, and number 4, attention back up here, please. So on problem number 4, you get to this point here. What can you cancel? Easy to miss. You can cancel a 2 out here. So where can we take a 2 out of? 8. This becomes 4, and then that becomes a 1. So it's 4 over x minus 7. Okay, on to number 5. Any questions on that before we move on to the next one? Okay, so either one of these denominators factor. Yeah, which one factors? This factors. How does this factor? I know all this factoring is coming together again. We've done some factoring and it's been a bit, so we have to remember. What multiplies to negative 20 that adds to negative 1? And, okay, I need you guys to sit quietly, please. We're not done. Just 2 more examples. You can hang on a little bit longer. So what multiplies to negative 20 that adds to negative 1? Good, negative 5 and 4. This is supposed to be an m minus 5, so that's a typo. Change that to m minus 5. So this would be m minus 5, m plus 4. So what's in this denominator that's not in this one? M plus 4. So we're going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by m plus 4. So we get m plus 4 So what do we do next? Very common mistake. In every single class, someone has said that. Why don't we want to cancel this m plus 4? It's really tempting. We love that canceling. Why don't we want to cancel these? We need to add them first. That's right. But it happens all the time. Every time I give this test on this, that's what students want to do because we like it. But we multiplied it so that we could add them together. So we're going to add those together and we get how many m's? 3m minus 15. Can we factor that numerator at all? You can factor out a 3, and it would be 3 times m minus 5. And then we can cancel m minus 5. So then this gives us 3 over m plus 4. Factoring frenzy. Okay, on number 6. We want to do on number 6. Can we factor this one here? Yeah, how does it factor? We're going to make our x. What multiplies to negative 6 that adds to 5? 6 and negative 1. So frequently on that 6, sometimes the students will say a negative 2 and a negative 3. That won't work because that gives you positive 6 for the product and negative 5 for the sum. So then this is r plus 6 times r minus 1. And then what is in this denominator that's not in this one? Trace, you tell me. What's here that's not there? Yep, r plus 6. So we're going to multiply that numerator and denominator by r plus 6. So distributing that out, what do we get when we distribute that 4r? 4r squared plus 24r. And so now what do we do next? We're going to add our like terms here from the numerator, and we get 4r squared minus 4r over r plus 6 times r minus 1. And then we've got to factor that numerator. Emma P, how does the numerator factor? Yep, r minus 1. Yes, good. And then we can cancel out the r minus 1. So we get 4r over r plus